Welcome back to this very special edition of the Cup That Matters. We are building up to the big game, India versus West Indies, and I'd like to go across to Boria Majumdar now to talk about this game. Boria, obviously, in the build-up to this game, a lot of talk has been about Ravichandran Ashwin. He bowled brilliantly in the last match, and he's raring to go, he's learning, and he says he loves these big challenges. How crucial is Ashwin going to be in today's game?
Huge, huge. You know, I mean, the fundamental difference as far as I'm concerned, Ashwin in the World Cup and Ashwin in that Australia tour and the Tri-Series, he's trying to pick wickets. You know, if you see the bowling, he's sort of going for wickets from ball one, and that is what is making a huge difference. In that match against Pakistan, 3 maidens in the first 5 overs and that wicket, the second wicket, which did Pakistan in. Against South Africa, 3 crucial wickets. He's bowling beautifully. In fact, you can ask Andrew this and Nikhil, would you want to start with Ashwin, say, against Gayle? Because he's had success against Gayle in the past, in the one-day format, and even in the IPL. So, does India sort of try this trick of trying Ashwin up front against Gayle? All said and done, Ashwin in good form, picking up wickets, and his batting lower down the order is a huge positive for India.
Obviously, Boria, very important, like he said. Andrew, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad tactic. I wouldn't overdo it. I'd just use maybe 1 over even, just the first over. If Chris is on strike, just use Ashwin then, and then if that goes well, maybe 1 more. But you do want to keep him, I think, for that middle period. So, because that middle period's such a key. Teams are trying to build a launch pad. So you want to have him through the middle as well, holding and taking wickets and slowing the rate of scoring down. But definitely an option at the start, just try and get him out.
Yes, Andrew, we will talk more about it, but that's all we have on this edition. But, you know, in fact, we'll talk to you more about all this after the break.
If you're in Perth for India's matches during the World Cup or planning to come in the future, one of the top things to do in the city is a walk in the humongous Kings Park right in the middle of the city, which also houses one of the world's biggest botanical gardens. I'm standing right in front of the War Memorial that is also housed in these gardens, and we'll show you some of the other top sights and scenes from here. The best part about the Kings Park, of course, are the vantage points that it provides to view this magnificent city of Perth, nestled on the banks of the Swan River. From here, at this vantage point, I can see the entire city line, the skyline of Perth, and right in front of it, the Swan River, which actually goes on the other side as well. And you can see beautiful yachts and small boats on the river. Really a place where you can come and enjoy yourself, a family day with your children. Long, huge parks and a lot of flora and fauna that you can enjoy here, wildflowers and a botanical garden.
Kings Park is rich in Aboriginal and European history and contemporary culture. It is home to the spectacular Western Australian Botanic Gardens, which displays over 3,000 species of the state. It offers great views overlooking the city, especially the meeting point of 2 rivers, Swan and Caning River. Many historical statues reside in the park, which is a heaven for Perth's city dwellers. With camera person Manish Mathur and Shivani Gupta in Perth, Bureau Report headlines today.
From the middle, West Indies have won the toss and elected to bat fast. And let's talk about that with our two guests, Andrew and Nikhil. Remember, there is a change in the Indian side. The fit Mohammad Shami has come in place of Bhuvneshwar Kumar. And even West Indies have gone in for a change where Kemar Roche comes in for Sulaiman Ben. Andrew, what do you make of the change as far as the West Indian side is concerned?
Yeah, well, I think that might give us a little insight into the wicket they're going to play on. The West Indies have dropped their spinner and brought in a quickie. So that would suggest to me that the wicket looks hard and it may go through to the keeper nicely, bounce, some good bounce and maybe a little bit of swing movement early on. That's the sort of indication I get through that selection change.
Shivani, let me come to you now. You've obviously followed the Indian training really well, and if we look at the change that has been made, obviously it was being talked about that if Shami is fit, he will play in place of Bhuvi. But Bhuvi does sort of have a good record against Gayle as well. So what do you make of the change that as far as the Indian team is made?
Well, I think this change has come from the fact that the Indian team does not want to deviate too much from what has worked for them. Shami needed to be rested from the last match, and that was a forced decision. But I think the moment that we knew, and we flashed it first on headlines today, that he's available for this match against the West Indies, this being a big match and him being in good form, you know, bowling really consistently and tight, it was expected that he will come back. Bhuvi, as Dhoni said at the toss as well, will have to make space for him, because at the moment, Mohit Sharma, Ravichandran Ashwin and Shami are your top three bowlers, and there will perhaps be time for Bhuvi later, but they don't want to change too much. We spoke to Saurav Ganguly also, as you played just earlier. If Shami is fit, he was supposed to come back. That made more sense. Yes, Bhuvneshwar has had success against Chris Gayle, but you can't just go on that. Tournament form matters as well. Bhuvneshwar has only played one match. He wasn't disappointing, but he wasn't great either. So Mohammad Shami is really that strike force that they need in the middle today against a batting lineup like this.
Shivani, we'll keep coming back to you, but Boria, coming to you, as far as the toss is concerned, Dhoni obviously loves to bat first. He loves winning the toss, but this is again for the second time that India are going to be chasing a total. And they would not want Chris Gayle to get off to a flyer, because then it may become difficult on the bounce that the Waka has to offer.
Precisely. Chris Gayle and Marlon Samuels. I mean, after that, the middle order is inherently fragile. No Darren Bravo, no Dwayne Bravo, no Kieron Pollard. You know, the lower middle order is good with Andre Russell and others, Darren Sammy. But, you know, Chris Gayle and Marlon Samuels and Dwayne Smith, you pick at the top of the order, and West Indies is more than half done. I don't think it's too bad for India, actually. You know, India, at some point in time, you would have lost the toss. So maybe in this match, rather than maybe in a quarterfinal or a semi-final, you get the taste of chasing also against a big team. So it's not going to do bad for India. If they manage to win this one, they will have all the tracks covered going into the knockouts.
That's great, Boria. Nikhil, talking about the toss, like Boria obviously said, maybe not a very bad toss for India to lose. But what is it that they would be looking to restrict the West Indies up to? We've seen contrasting scores as far as this pitch goes, and like Saurav also mentioned, that probably a score of 280 may be sufficient enough for the West Indies?
Well, it depends on how early do you get Chris Gayle. He can, you know, all of a sudden get your plans to be going out of the window. But even if Chris Gayle has, a decent day, 280, 290, even after that, Radhika, I don't think the Indian team, when they're going out to chase, should go out there and panic. It's not the first power play that you're looking to get 60, 70 or 80. You know, you've got to be very careful. Even if you're chasing close to 300 runs, you've got to try and set a target where somewhere around the 40 over mark, you're close to about 200, 210, but most importantly, wickets in hand. Then you can go out there and exploit the last and you can get 80 to 90 runs. But if you go after the West Indian bowling, you know, on a wicket with the number of fast bowlers that they're playing, you lose 2-3 wickets, you'll be out of the game. It'll be very difficult. You keep wickets in hand, you'll keep the West Indian side under pressure as well, because they know, as the Indian team, has got a power-packed batting lineup as well. So I'm not too worried about chasing 280, 290, but you need to be a little smart. Don't lose wickets up front in the first 10. Even if you're 40, 45 with 1 wicket down, I'll take that. Chasing 280, 290, no problem.
You know, Andrew, talking about that, obviously, like Nikhil mentioned, you know, they've got a lot of fast bowlers in the side. That is why they made that change also that you mentioned. Is that the approach going into the, you spoke about the pitch before we started, you know, it's going to be an unpredictable pitch. Is that the mindset that the West Indies went into when they made that change?
I think so. I mean, unfortunately, we haven't been able to have a look at the wicket, but just going on that selection, I would say that. When I was involved with the Australian side, we always used to take just that little bit longer in Perth to get your innings underway. Don't rush into your innings. Get used to the bounce and the pace of the wicket. before you start to accelerate. And that'll be a key for all the batsmen on both sides today. You know, it's one of those places you can bring yourself undone if you try and explode too early. Just getting used to the bounce is very important to the longevity of your innings.
Great, Andrew. We will continue talking about it, but we'll slip into a quick break now. We are building up to India's big game against the West Indies. But former Australian off-spinner Bruce Yardley has played a big role in R. Ashwin's emergence as a better bowler. In an exclusive chat with Headlines Today, Yardley explained how Ashwin regained his confidence to make a statement in international cricket.
When in Australia, you've got to meet a fast bowler, but then an off-spinner in Australia, in Perth, well, that's Bruce Yardley for you. The star of the 70s and the 80s, the off-spinner who invented the doosra, but it wasn't a doosra those times, Bruce. Cricket's changed so much. People talk about the variations. You were explaining me how Ashwin's been bowling in Australia and he's been picking up wickets now.
Yeah, I thought that he started experimenting with too many different varieties. He was bowling 6 different balls and over and all that sort of stuff, and I thought, God, if he just got back to the basics, and if he comes to Australia, he's going to have to get the ball rotating forward at 45 degrees with really good revs on it, with a bit of shine this side would help him take the ball away from the batsman and spin it back. And with the ball rotating at 45 and going forward on these bouncy tracks, he not only beats them in the air, but off the pitch as well. And he started doing that now. I bumped into him at the Hyatt just last week. Ravichandran was there. I said, Ravi, where are you, mate? He's Bruce. He's got on the phone. He said, Ashwin, get down here, right? And I said, look, you go over the top in Australia, or you just slide underneath. So one turns and one slides away. And I said, if you can get that drop, that overspin, you get loop and bounce and a bit of turn, you'll be successful. And he bowled beautifully on the whacker, man of the match.
Yes, and if you're wondering how and why Ashwin has changed his fortune and the team's fortune, here's the secret. Bruce, India has been doing well. Are they the serious contenders? Because early days, you would soon approach the business end of the tournament. Maybe South Africa are coming back strongly. But are India a contender now on these pitches?
Exactly, anywhere. Anywhere in the world they are a contender, in my book. They have their slumps, and I was talking with some friends after some of their games earlier on in the summer, and they said, oh, India are gone. I said, you wait for the big time. You wait, you watch Dhoni stand up, you watch them all stand up, because they play so much cricket. I think it's very easy to go flat, you know what I mean? But when the big ones are on, you watch them stand up, and it's exactly what's happened. And a fantastic team they are now. God, I love Kohli. Virat Kohli.
Everybody does that.
Oh, mate, he gives it back, doesn't he? I love it.
All right, back to the show, the cup that matters. India's in battle with West Indies, and I'm surrounded with fans here who are going to sing a special song for India. They're wishing for a big Indian victory against the West Indies, isn't it, guys?
Yes!
But Chris Gayle and team are batting first. Are you nervous about that?
Not at all. Chris Gayle is going to get us out in the first 10 overs, without a doubt.
Oh, zero on
No 1-0. Let him score 50. We'll be chasing 280 and we can do it.
Okay. Everyone confident of an Indian?
Oh, too confident. There is no doubt the winners today. India!
And what do you want to see in the match today?
100 everywhere.
Not from Chris Gayle though.
East or West, India, Australia, best!
All right, fans just about to enter the stadium now. 10 minutes to go before the start of the match. Here's wishing that India have a good bowling outing in the first innings. Studio, back to you.
Obviously, Shivani, a lot of excitement as far as Perth is concerned. The fans are looking forward so that India win this match and seal a place in the quarterfinals. But I'd like to ask Boria, before we wrap up this show, obviously, what is your prediction for the match, considering that India is batting second, going to be chasing Chris Gayle, a big factor? Boria, what do you think?
No predictions in cricket these days, especially but early wickets. If you pick up Gayle and Samuels in the first 15, you are through. As I said, big vulnerability in that middle order. Early wickets, the key for India's success.
Andrew, what about you? Who do you think holds the key in this game? Looking at the toss, looking at the pitch and the team combination.
Oh, look, obviously Gayle's a key man, but take him out of the equation. I'm thinking more along the lines of India's success. I don't think it's going to do them any harm at all to have a chase against a better side, a quality side. That'll do them no end of good. If they chase successfully and win, that's a great little confidence booster to take into the second half of the tournament, you know, the business end. So this is a really good sort of situation for India to be in. And then on the flip side, the West Indies, obviously, this is an opportunity for them to play against a quality side as well, put a big total on the board and defend it.
Nikhil, you feel will it be a big challenge for India considering the way they are playing in the tournament? Will Dhoni obviously want to try out chasing a target as well against a decent side?
Well, it's happened and it's not such a bad idea because like Boria mentioned a little while ago, you know, you're not going to win every single toss. Sometimes you will have to go out there and chase. The bowling will have to be put under some sort of pressure to try and restrict the opposition so that your batsmen can go out there and chase down targets as well. West Indies is a quality side. They've got an extra fast bowler playing in Kimar Roach. So, you know, the batting will get tested. It just depends on what kind of total. Our Indian bowlers restrict the West Indies side. So that's going to be the interesting part. I'm pretty happy because you've been winning tosses, posting totals, defending them. Now's the time to go out there and chase.
Obviously, Nikhil, you and Andrew seem to be willing to try your hands at the game as well as India get ready.
Absolutely, and this is our ritual. Andrew's beating me 2-1. We got to knock down the stumps. It's a good omen. If I hit, Team India is winning, Radhika, so you better be praying. There you go. So, like they say, there you go. Yeah. Let the game begin, mate. 2-all.
Middle stump.